Good morning, Art Ravers. I have a little surprise for you. I'm actually going to be painting the large painting this morning. So this is the 4x4 that we painted. I believe we painted it on the main page that anybody can watch. But I'm going to be doing this as an in-person event, our first in-person event since COVID. We're going to be doing it at the Shanty on Monday, August 2nd. So you can still sign up if you wanted to join us at this beautiful restaurant in Wadsworth. And you can grab a bite to eat and you can paint, or you can just come and paint. But the tickets are for sale on the website. And this morning I am painting the large painting because I only had this little guy to post. So you're going to see this painting when you purchase the ticket, but it's actually only a 4x4. And today I'm going to be painting the large painting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the brown underpainting. And then I'm going to chalk in the drawing. And then we're going to start painting the actual painting. So I'm not going to do the entire process right now. I just want to share with you the drawing phase because this is something that you're going to be doing if you sign up for this class. So we're going to take our brown underpainting, our brown burnt umber, and we're going to take a little bit of water. And I start off by toning the canvas. If you don't remember, if you haven't been to one of our art raves in a while, I like to start a lot of the paintings with a brown underpainting because they have a nice, rich, warm tone to them. It's my little secret. It's kind of like my signature secret because let me move my matcha before I dip my brush in it and bring my water cup here. It's bad placement for that. So I'm just getting started and I thought I would share with you just the fun lusciousness of getting paint to canvas. In case you haven't painted in a while, it's very fun seeing somebody else paint. I know I love watching people paint because it makes me so excited to break out my paints. And this large one is going to be very much based on that small one, but of course it will change a little bit just by the very nature of it being another painting. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. So we start by painting the entire canvas with an underpainting. And, oh, Tammy, you can't attend. Bummer. Yeah, I know a lot of people who are in the inner circle are out of state. And, of course, you won't be able to see it. Be there, of course, if you're out of state. I might film it and post it in the inner circle anyways for the people who are out of state. I'd hate for you to miss out. Or when I record it today in studio, because what I'm doing is I'm gonna be doing this live for a little bit here on this website, on the Facebook page rather, and then when I paint the entire painting, I'm gonna videotape it for a video you can purchase later. So if you can't make it to the event, you can always purchase the video later on. I will offer that for sale. And then you can paint it at your own leisure at home. So that's kind of a new feature post-COVID is there's videos of all the paintings. And they're edited videos at that so that they are nice and fun to watch, easy to follow, and designed to help you get the best painting out of it so that you can complete your own painting with all the fun and the support that you would get from me normally. Okay, so there's our brown underpainting. So now I'm going to do a quick blow dry so that I can start my chalk drawing, and I'm going to share with you the chalk drawing because this is really important for any painting, is that you get your outline down. It's always whoops, I just splashed water on my painting. So it's always important to You see what the water just did? It just took off my brown. That's okay. It's not going to make a big difference after all. All right, let me blow dry this really quickly, and then I'm going to show you a little drawing lesson on how to draw out the sunset, okay? Let's blow dry. Okay, so now that it's dry, and I know that it looks like a mess, and there's this big light patch, and it's dark over here, but in this case, that's totally fine. It's not going to make a difference in the finished painting, because when we layer on the colors, it's going to even out, and it doesn't really matter if it's a little bit uneven. So I'm going to get a piece of chalk, and I'm going to start by doing the horizon line. Now, whenever you do a horizon line, this is part where you really want it to be straight. What's going to make a really great painting look really amateur is if your horizon line has a curve. Okay, so you know what? Even if you paint it really messy and you're new to painting, you can break out a ruler and get your horizon line straight, because that's just something that's just not going to look good. Even if your painting is very stylized or messy or new or whatever, this part is very important that it's straight. The other thing that's important is the placement of the horizon line. So the rule of thumb is you never want to have anything that's breaking up the canvas right in the middle. So you always want to go like about 1/3. The 1/3, 2/3 rule is very important in composition. So I'm going to go about 1/3 up, and you don't have to measure. You can just guesstimate. And I'm going to use my ruler though and make sure that that it's also not slanted. You don't want a slanted horizon. Let me close the door because my daughter's little lovebird is very noisy. Okay, so I'm going to put it about here. I want to make sure that it's the same distance from the top, so I'll measure that in a minute once I do my little marks. I'm going to do one mark here, one mark here, and I'm going to just quickly make sure that it's the same distance from the top. So I have 5 3/4. See, this is about 5 1/2, so I need to go down a little bit. Okay, so this is more level. Okay, so I'm going to give it a little bit of space for my chalk, and then just zip it across. Okay, so now you've got your straight horizon line, and we don't need to draw out the trees, but if it helps to remember, you want to have the middle of your lake be the smallest tree, because remember, the lake's going to be round, so as it gets farther away, the trees get smaller, and as it gets closer, which is basically the curve of the bank, it's going to be a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to just remember that this is where my trees are going to be. You're going to also have the reflection is going to mirror your trees. So you're going to just put in a rough reflection there just to remind you where it's at. And then the placement of the sun. So now the placement of the sun, again, there are some compositions where you can break this rule, but again, the rule of centering things is often more pleasing to the eye if you have it off-centered. So I'm going to have this off-centered sun, and I want it to be kind of disappearing behind the trees a little bit, this big glowing ball, just like the sun we've been seeing lately, that beautiful orange sun that we've been seeing. So that's going to be my sun. This is also a good compositional tip. If you divide your canvas into thirds both ways, you're going to have 4 intersection points. And those are typically the best places to put a focal point. So that's why I'm doing this. This is kind of at the 2/3 mark also. And it's about 1/3 of the way down, and it's about 1/3 of the way in. So that's why I chose that location. And then we're going to have our light coming down right below our sun, always reflecting directly below. And none of this so far has been anything that anybody can't draw. This is all super simple. It's placement that matters in this case, and that's why I'm going over these little compositional rules. Okay, now for the ground, I don't really need much here, but I do want to establish some little bit of a bank, and that will just help me know, where to stop when I'm doing my water. So I'm going to just do a little messy kind of down and then up again, little shoreline. And that's just to, again, I'm going to be painting over this, but it'll just give me that foundation to start with. And then I'm not going to draw in any of the grasses because those will just be done freehand. But if you need to draw out like on a little piece of paper and kind of practice some grasses, it is a good idea to do a little drawing, like, something that like on a practice pad. Sometimes just practicing some grasses like here. This was the drawing I did before I did the 4x4. And when you start practicing the grasses, it helps you to notice how different directions of the grasses will complement each other. And also if you want them, how high you want them. Do you want them to go over your tree line? And I did. See, I went over my tree line. In my drawing, I was thinking of putting one kind of going over the sun, but then when I painted it, I decided not to, and I moved that over a little bit. So I might have a piece of grass coming way up here. So those are just things to think about, but if you draw it out beforehand, it will help you to realize that, like, yeah, you are going to have grasses that are going to go so high that they're going to go above your horizon line. If you did the grasses really low, that's fine too. That would be a painting that would suggest that you're standing further away from the bank and you're looking at the grasses. Your eye is going above the grasses. When you move down, let's say if you were to take this photo, imagine if you were standing at the bank of a lake or near the shoreline, and you bent down and you held your camera really low, like about knee high or so, then the grasses would be taller than your line of vision. So this is how I imagined this photo to have been taken, is that you're down lower, your viewpoint is lower than the tops of the grasses, which puts some of the grasses really tall. So that's just a little background info to get you to think about enlarging these grasses. I specifically chose a viewpoint that was going to be lower. And you can even try that if you live near a lake or you can visit a forest preserve. If you walk out onto the water, or near the water rather, and you take a picture from standing at your normal height, and then find some grasses and actually bend down, bring your camera down low, like squat down, and then take a picture with those grasses really high. And that'll be a great little prep exercise. Doesn't have to be a beautiful photo, just do it so you can see how the height of the grass changes depending on the height of your camera. If the camera is your normal standing height versus if you squat down and take it. Okay, and that's going to give you some good, that'll give you some good prep for joining us on the second, or if you paint this from a video. All right, well, I'm going to stop there because I've got to make the official recording of this painting, and I'm going to share it. I'm going to share the finished painting on the Facebook page later this afternoon, so you can see the finished product in a 16x20. And then those of you that are local, I hope that you can come out to the shanty on August 2nd and have this wonderful summer evening to paint with us and paint your own version of Summer Sunset. All right, I'll post my painting later. You guys have a great rest of your morning.